Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, brothers and sisters in Islam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us in the Qur'an, and all that we relate to you of these stories of the messengers, we strengthen with them your heart. Through them there comes to you the truth, a good counsel, and a reminder to those who believe. This is mentioned in Surah Hud, Ayah 120. The beautiful stories of our prophets found in the Qur'an aren't just tales or legends. They aren't just historical stories of the past. These stories help us learn from their experiences and strengthen our Eman. Today, we will listen to the story of Prophet Adam alayhi salam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the heavens and the earth and all that is between them in 6 days. The length of each day is not precisely defined, so we don't need to think too much about that which Allah has not explained to us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the angels and jinn before He created man. Angels are created from light, and their natural inclination is to be obedient to Allah at all times. They aren't given free will or choice. They follow every instruction with full submission. The jinn are created from smokeless fire, but like man, they are given free will. They are created for the same purpose as that for which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created mankind, for worshipping Him. So on this basis, jinn are also equally accountable for their actions and are required to obey Allah's commands and stay away from what He has prohibited, just like mankind. Jannah and Jahannam are created as the two final destinations of jinn and mankind. Jannah is a beautiful, vast garden with rivers of milk and honey designed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for His true believers. Jahannam is a deep pit of burning fire for those who disbelieve and whose sins exceed their good deeds. Prophet Adam alayhi salam was the first human created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He was made from the purest of elements, dust, clay, and water. Adam alayhi salam was given the power of knowledge with special abilities to learn, observe, and understand things. He was also given the ability to identify, learning the names and uses of all things. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala honored him by commanding all the angels to prostrate to him. Iblis, who was one of the jinn, was present in this gathering as he was an obedient worshipper of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala along with the angels. But this command of doing sajda to another creation didn't sit well with him. He thought he was better than Adam alayhi salam and became jealous of him and refused to prostrate on the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He was removed from Allah's mercy due to his arrogance and disobedience. Instead of asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for forgiveness, he asked for permission to let him live until the day of judgment, challenging to misguide Adam alayhi salam and his children to the very last day. His one aim is to lead man to hellfire and deprive him from paradise by making him fall into shirk and haram deeds. Although shaitan is our biggest enemy, we must remember that if we build our taqwa and hold strong to our iman, he will not have power over us, insha'Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala let Adam alayhi salam and his wife Hawa live in Jannah. They were free to enjoy everything except the fruit of one tree. Iblis tried to convince them that eating from that tree would make them stay in Jannah forever and ever. His whispers led them towards disobedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they ate from the tree. They both immediately became ashamed of what they did and began to cover their bodies with leaves of the trees of paradise. They realized that they had clearly disobeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and went against His command. We both see here that Adam alayhi salam and Iblis committed a sin, but they both reacted differently. Iblis refused to recognize his mistake. He even justified his disobedience and continued to sin. He asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant him permission to live until the last day, challenging to harm the children of Adam till the very end, and taking as many of them to hellfire. Adam alayhi salam, on the other hand, was a perfect example of a true mu'min who is free of the characteristics of shaitan. He immediately admitted his mistake and turned to Allah in repentance. Adam alayhi salam did not persist in this sin. Rather, he humbly submitted to Allah and made dua asking for His forgiveness. Let's all try to memorize this beautiful dua made by Adam alayhi salam asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for forgiveness whenever we realize that we have sinned. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. This dua is mentioned in Surah Al-A'raf, ayah 23, which means, O our Rabb, we have wronged ourselves. If you forgive us not and have not mercy on us, then certainly we are among the losers. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepted the dua of Adam alayhi salam and raised his ranks. He was sent down to the dunya where he was to live as the first prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, establishing the laws of Allah on earth and teaching his wife and offspring how to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and seek his forgiveness. Dear brothers and sisters in Islam, I hope you enjoyed and learned valuable lessons from this story. We will meet again with another beautiful story, insha'Allah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.